Good morning, class. We are starting our last week of object-oriented programming for the summer of 2021. With that in mind, I wanted to do a quick overview of the week since this is our final week, make sure that everybody understood what we're doing and what we need to finish up. So first up, midterm corrections. So I have gotten the midterms graded. If you're not happy with your grade, you have a chance to resubmit the questions you lost points on and regain those points. So if you want to do that, the midterm corrections assignment is in the extra credit opportunities module, and you just need to write up those responses to that midterm with the corrections. Make sure that you write down what question you're correcting, the full correction, and upload that as a Word file or a PDF or a text file, something like that, to this midterm corrections assignment. All right, so we are starting week 8. So we are going to have a little bit of coverage of Link, and then also of deploying our web apps, in this case to Microsoft Azure is one of the many ways we can deploy a web app. So this one covers that a little bit. And then we're going to have our final exam. Now, the final exam, you can actually look at these links before you finish going through these exercises. That way you can kind of plan ahead for the week. But basically, the final exam is a take-home exam. You're going to print it out and fill it out. It is a paper exam. And once you've finished it, you need to either scan it or take pictures of it with your cell phone or something along those lines, upload that, and submit it to K-State Online. I've also included a practice exam, so we'll take a look at that, and I'll actually work through that in a separate video, just so that if you have any questions about the format or anything, that's all basically captured there. And then on the unauthorized aid, remember you're allowed to use your class notes, your projects, the class textbook, Microsoft documentation, UML specification, and you can also use Wikipedia. I don't think it'll be very helpful, but you can. You are, and this is very crucial, not to discuss the details of the final exam with anyone other than me. So if you have questions about the exam, about am I interpreting this correctly, come to me with those questions. Do not talk to your classmates about it. Any talking with other people about the contents of the exam, either online or in person, is considered unauthorized aid, and under the K-State Honor Policy, that means that you will get a grade of XF in the course if you're caught doing that. So please do not talk to other people about the contents of the exam. If you have questions, come talk with me. The exam is actually going to be due on Friday. In fact, all the assignments for this week are due on Friday. You don't want to wait until the last minute to do this. I would suggest you reserve at least a couple hours to work on the exam, but I want to give you the opportunity to fit that in your schedule where it makes sense for you, because I know everybody's schedule is very different this semester. So try to reserve about a 2-hour block of time, and try to do that early enough in the week that if it turns out that's not enough time, you still have an opportunity to go back and finish up the exam. All right. Like I said, there is a practice exam that is posted that you can take a look at. And this is pretty much the format of the final is going to be very similar to this. Obviously, the questions will be different, but they're going to be detailed around some UML, writing code, and writing some tests, and doing some algorithms. Now, what is not going to be on the final exam, we're not going to go and do any XAML work. We're not going to do any of the Razor Pages work. We're specifically focused on where your knowledge is about object orientation, how comfortable you are with the core concepts we worked on in there. That does include testing. That does include kind of sorting and filtering and some of those things. So those can be and are fair game for the exam, but I'm not going to do anything specific to the ASP.NET Razor Pages or specific to WPF. And the reason I do that is this is not a GUI course. This is not a web development course. This is an object-oriented course. Those other technologies are a really good way of learning more about object orientation and how it's actually used in development, but that's not what I'm testing you over. Did you really gain the knowledge you need on object orientation is the goal of what we're after here. That does include, however, testing. So that is going to be a piece of this. If you have any work that you haven't finished, any of the exercises you haven't finished, they need to be in by Friday. That's the last date that I'm going to be looking at anything unless we have some other prior arrangement. So if you find yourself really in a bad spot, let me know and we can talk through it. But for the most part, get everything in by Friday and then you're done. You finish the course, you can walk away feeling good. And those grades will be coming out very shortly thereafter. I'm honestly not sure when they'll actually publish those grades, when they actually show up in cases, but may not be till August. I think that might be how the summer is set up. The summer is just weird in terms of how all the bookkeeping and all that happens compared to the regular semesters. So it should be there. What you get in Canvas, so what the Canvas course shows as your final grade should be your final grade in cases, unless you're one of those borderline cases that was talked about in the syllabus, and you did your annotations and your test and marked all your confidence intervals. The other thing I wanted to throw out here, the T-vals, you should have gotten an email about that probably today. Please do fill out the T-val for the course. I actually do read those. When you fill them out, you'll find out that it's not the standard T-val. There's a lot of extra questions I've thrown in there. I use that feedback to kind of evaluate how my teaching is going, how the course is going, and if there's changes that need to be made to make it more approachable, to make it better in terms of coverage or how we approach the teaching. So please do fill that one out and get back to me. Oh, and of course, they are anonymous. I won't know who submitted what response unless you put your name in it, which you probably shouldn't do if you want to stay anonymous. But, and I also don't look at them. I won't get them actually until after all the final grades for the course are in. So don't worry about it influencing your grade. It's not going to, but it does help me as I plan this course moving into the future. So thank you for your time. I hope you had a good semester. I hope you have a great end to the course and a great end to your summer. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the fall. Well, take care.